Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Good Life Bookstore. It is one of your hosts, Good Life Russ.
I am one of your other hosts, Chloe Simone, and I am here with the most amazing guest, Carmela Maxell. And she is here to tell us who she is. But before we start your formal introduction, I'm seeing a lot of great credentials behind this name. Can we talk about that a little bit? Since we're in question about people's credits, let's talk to the doctors.
That's fair. That's fair. So hi everybody. So I'm Carmela Maxell. So all those letters behind my name. So my PsyD, I have a doctorate in clinical psychology. The PsyD is usually for applied psychology, as to where your PhD is for folks that are more research based, and it doesn't mean that you can't do the other with the applied psych. But I chose that route just because I directly wanted to get into client work. My MA is also in clinical psych, and it was in clinical child psych. And I should back up and say my doctorate is in two tracks, so clinical child psychology and then neuropsychology. Uh, I have an MBA, Master's in Business Administration in Healthcare Management, and then my last two credentials, the LMHC, I'm a licensed mental health counselor and a substance use disorder professional trainee here in the state of Washington.
So
Is there anything
everything.
left you could get?
Well, yeah. Well, so I'm actually retaking the LSAT on Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah. Ambitious.
Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. Crossing
we
fingers.
love that.
Well, we're excited to
We
hear the good news.
yeah.
Crossing fingers. Thank you so much.
Let
Yeah.
us know so we can post that.
Hey, listen. Well, I'll let you know the score beforehand.
Yeah.
Put out that.
We don't care about the score. We just want pass or fail. We know
Hey,
the specifics.
hey, hey.
That's awesome.
hmm So why did you choose to go into that background?
Interestingly enough, I didn't initially. I wanted to be an allopathic doctor. I wanted to be an MD.
Mhm.
Uh, and my father was sort of hell bent on having a doctor in the family. And so my entire life, he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna go to med school. You're gonna go to med school." And he had this dream about me being a medical doctor on a naval ship. I don't know where he got that I was going to the military. I don't know
Oddly
where that.
specific.
Right. Well, he was in the army, and I was like, okay, well, thanks for that. I said, I think I got you on the doctor part. No, but I, it sounded respectable. It just sounded like something to go into. My dad had his doctorate in divinity, so he was a pastor.
Okay.
Okay.
And one day, and I wrote this in one of my college essays, like why I wanted to go into psychology.
hmm
I was a little girl, and my dad was presiding over a funeral. And I saw people, like clutching at their chest and crying and saying, "I have a broken heart." And I'm little. I don't know. And I remember tugging on his robe, and he was annoyed at the time. What kind of doctor fixes broken hearts? And so he was like,
Oh,
Oh.
he said, "A heart surgeon." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I thought that's where I was going. And then little do I know, later on, I understood the abstract nature of a broken heart. And I think through just my own life experience, traumas, relationships and such, I found that psychology was something I wanted to get into. And also noticing for my community, I'm half Black, half Filipino, and I just saw
hmm
how mental health and mental health care was so stigmatized. And there's a
yeah.
lot of distrust, and very understandable. And I wanted to be a recognizable face, and that has
hmm
not been easy.
hmm
Um, but it's super rewarding, and
Yeah.
I love what I do. So yeah, that's like sort of the long-winded explanation of that background. And
That's a
Good
great,
winded. Good
yeah,
winded.
great update. Now we know more. And I'm sure
yeah,
there's a lot of people who want to follow in your footsteps, and you made it look
Mhm.
easy. So thanks for that, too.
I'm glad I made it look. Uh,
So let's make the connection. Tell
Yeah.
us some about your childhood. Were books showing up prevalent? Did you live the Cosbys? Like, what was your life like when it came to education and books? Because
Yeah.
I'm just going to assume you went to this much school. You like reading. Reading is something that shows up in your life. So also, once you tell us like the history, talk to us about the balance between reading and writing.
Yeah. Oh
So
man.
first the
So
relationship with books and then your relationship with reading and writing.
yeah, that's a really good assumption. And the proper answer, right, is yeah, I love reading, love books. Um, yeah, they're so much fun. I do. I do love to read. I think as I've gotten older, though, what I read, I've been a little choosier in my
Mm-hmm.
reading because
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so on the go. Um, so growing up, there was definitely a lot of pressure, right, to be educated. My dad
Mhm.
grew up in Jim Crow South. My mother is an immigrant, and
Mhm.
it was all about, the way that you're going to make it in this world is to be educated and do well for yourself.
Mhm.
So I spent a lot of time reading, fantasy books. There's a Garth Nix series. He's an
Mm-hmm.
Australian writer, and there's this series that I started reading when I think I was in grade school, and I thought it was fascinating about this little girl who was dark haired and had all these powers, and she didn't look like anybody else. And I found
Mhm.
myself like really being situated in that book. And then there's like Cormac McCarthy, who was, he's got a little bit of an esoteric writing style and very kind of short and blunt, which is what I really like.
Mhm.
Um, and then Michelle Obama. I mean, just Michelle Obama
Yes.
is everything, and
Yes.
I love
Mhm.
her. And I got to see her when she was here in Tacoma and got her book. And,
Oh.
That's fantastic.
yeah, just, absolutely fabulous. Um, so reading was a huge part of my upbringing,
Mhm.
but I was always a pretty studious person. But then
Mm-hmm.
I also had that, knucklehead kind of mentality of like, I'm going to go goof off and do my thing. Um,
Yeah.
I loved getting lost in these worlds. I was always trying to find characters that were like me
Yeah.
and look up writing styles that made sense to me because some were really, really descriptive, and then some were like left you with uh, a lot to be imagined.
Mhm.
So, you know, writing, I would write a lot of poetry growing up, but I never saw myself as an author. I
Mm.
think, yeah, it was
Mm.
all, that obligatory writing that, okay, write this essay, write that
Right.
essay. And then, I'm a mom of three. And so now they come home with their little picture books and you're like, oh yeah, this is great. I don't, I think I
Yeah.
follow the story
Mm-hmm.
fine. Why did the dog jump over the candle? Okay, cool. But, you sort of procedurally learn about it and connect, you've got the beginning and then your plots uh, and then learning about arcs and all of that with your books. Um, in terms of the balance of writing, oh man, um, the biggest book until now that I'd ever written was my dissertation.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
that was painful. That was painful because that, what a lot of people I think may not realize if you're a first time author like I am in this fictional book bereavement that I wrote,
Mhm.
there's actually a lot of research that you should probably do.
Yeah.
Probably do so that stuff makes sense. And on so many fronts, not just the writing aspect, but okay, how do I market this thing? Because writing is one thing,
Yeah.
but then publishing, which is a whole other beast, with
Yes.
just yeah, um, and then
The
oh yeah, you
journey.
have to have the whole journey, right? So the balance has been messy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's
Mm-hmm.
been really messy. And anyone that thinks, oh, this is straightforward, and you sit down and you just have sip on your, your coffee, and you just write away, and you so get inspired, and then you just write it down. I have had vivid thoughts about like a chapter.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
I gotta write this down. I sit down and nothing comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or I will be asleep and I'm like, okay, I'm super tired. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh, I gotta write
Yeah.
that down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's messy and beautiful. And man, when you read it back to yourself, or I let it,
Hmm.
I'll do like the text to speech.
Hmm.
It is humbling.
Hmm.
It's
I was
humble.
I was going to give you kudos if
Yeah.
that worked for you.
Well, I read it back and I don't know about anybody, but I have to duck under my desk. I'm just like, okay, I'll turn the volume down because I know that wasn't great, you know. And you're like, and you also realize that there is a difference, right, between how you write versus how
Yes.
it's said out loud. Because you see, for
Yes.
me, I write properly, and then I read it, and I'm like, Gustav went to the ball. I'm like, wait, what? Why does that cringe? Like that's terrible. Um, yeah. So there is this sort of I don't know that I've necessarily figured out what balance looks like yet, but um, I think the start of balance is support.
Mm,
So,
okay.
making sure that you're in a good enough mental space. And that doesn't mean a good space in terms of like you have to be in a happy mood to write, but that
Hmm.
you are in a good, inspiring space to get, thought to paper or
Hmm.
thought to screen, as
To
we
like
know it.
translate it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, and I had to suspend all judgments about what I thought a bad idea was or a
Oh,
good
okay.
idea
Yeah.
because man, there's some amazing writers out here. I mean, just have
Hmm.
been in the game for so long, and there, I can feel intimidated, but
Hmm.
but they've been doing it for so long, and they've attracted a certain audience. So I'm like, what do I have to contribute? This little baby book that has lots of feelings.
Baby book.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too with balance. Balance isn't just about the writing and the publishing and the marketing. It's also
Hmm.
the balance of mindset. I,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
where I I posted about this the other day about giving yourself grace. That
Hmm.
I don't think that we are auditioning for and saying that we're perfect in all ways. Because I mean, I went back and read my actual published copy, and I was like, oh man, there's some continuity issues. So man, there's some time gaps. Whoops, I gotta fit. But um,
Hmm.
I think it's trusting that people are going to resonate.
Hmm.
And the other thing is, I'm juggling parenting. I'm a director at a co-occurring treatment facility. I'm a
Hmm.
professor. I'm an amateur bass player. I got like lots of balls in the air. Like I just can't be bored. I can't sit down. And this has nothing to do with like, oh, I'm just so great or anything like that. I can't be bored. I like to do lots of stuff. That's how I stay sane. And so then naturally people are like, are you nuts? Why would you want to write a book? Why wouldn't I want to
Why
write it?
not?
Right, right. Life gives you so much material. Like it really
Hmm.
gives you so much material to to really play with. And I think that's the balance there is really um, taking your time, stepping back for a second, looking at it, spending time with your family, doing the things that you need to do for your own livelihood, getting
Hmm.
back to it. I don't think it's a linear thing. I think
Yeah.
it's very much like, a roller coaster.
Like life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, writing is seriously life. And
Hmm.
I'm impressed, I think, by anyone that is able to just sit down and like just bang it out.
Hmm.
Uh, I know very few people that can do that.
Right. Right.
But I think it's meant to be a messy process. I don't think it's meant to be clean. Otherwise, somebody would be making way more money doing this easier, and we would all have those tips. But it's messy.
I mean, I'm biased. I really feel like everybody should write a book because everybody has their own unique version of their story to tell.
Yeah.
One of the things that we reference a lot about the bookstore is we didn't grow up seeing ourselves in books like that, so we'd had to
Right.
write our own.
Hmm.
So when we talk about, people making statements like, why would you want to write a book? Well, there are other people that relate and connect with me, and maybe somebody is telling them the same thing. And then they
Right.
have this entire universe in their mind that literally could save somebody's life. We know a lot
Yeah.
of kids that had some interesting upbringing, and books in the library were their refuge. So
Yeah.
you never really know who this is for until it's in
Yeah.
their hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Mhm.
That sounds pretty consistent with who you are, because I'm sure people heard doctorate and was like, "Why would you want to? You want more school? You haven't had enough of college."
You know.
And I think those are, for certain people, those are the rite of passages. Like for me, I want to be challenged, or I don't really feel like I did anything. I feel like anyone could have did this, but the challenge to me is like, okay, this is what's telling me this is for me. This is, I deserve this because I'm gonna push, because people don't see the sleepless nights. They don't see you having to cut back on spending, missing the
Mhm.
parties, missing the trips. They don't see
Yeah.
any of it. And
Yeah.
they don't need to. We need that. We need to remind ourselves, this is what I do. This is my
Yes.
arena. This is my office. These are my clients. These are my
Mhm.
family. You know what I mean? And claiming it. And it's been so wonderful seeing all of us claim our greatness and tell other people,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm pretty great. And mean
Yeah.
it. And sometimes that to me is the payout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes that is me looking back and saying, okay, I can use this to inspire me later to do other things. And I think
Oh,
now that starts to have the world shape us differently. But we all have children. So this is always something, that I ask people. So do your
yeah.
kids treat you like a celebrity or a regular person?
Oh my gosh. My kids are annoying. My kids are annoying. They're like, they're not surprised at this point by anything that
Okay.
I do. Especially my eldest. He's 15, and I'm like, I had been holding on to the secret for a while. I've been working on this for a while, and I'm like, so I'm writing a book. He was like, ugh. I'm like, no, more. That's sort of the annoying part about being a go-getter, right? And he's just like, do you stop? Like, do you see when it's gonna what? And
He's seen many phases of you.
yes,
Yeah.
he has seen me like crying and rocking under my desk. He's seen me where I'm like, I'm doing this thing. He's like, why are you so excited? And then
Yeah.
my other two, my middle son is 8 and my daughter is 5. She'll be 6 in 2 days. And they're just kind of oblivious. I'm like, mommy wrote a book, and they're like, what's it about? Are there pictures? And like, no, not really. You know, um, they're they. I don't. I think my eldest has he has a huge respect for me and what I do, especially just in the mental health community.
Yeah.
Um, he's impressed, and I'm so impressed by just his intrigue, his
Yes.
interest in what I do, because I can't speak for all families and parenting dynamics, but I lucked out because me and my son have an amazing bond, and he is super
Mhm.
curious. And so we get down to like, okay, so what's that really like?
Yeah.
And you have to deal with this, or tell me the craziest story. It's not
Yeah.
just, he's not just trying to glamorize the crazy, but he's just like, man, mom, like you deal with some really messed up stuff. And I'm like, yeah, man,
Hmm.
it's definitely a lot. Um, Celebrity, I think he's just like, you really are one of those people that could be whomever you want to be. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, God willing,
Yeah.
but also I think they just see me as mom, the mom that never stops.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to lose that. I don't ever want to be in a space where I lose that sense of humility.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you climb so far, if you think of a ladder, the higher you climb, the more unstable. The most stable part is at the bottom. But if you want to see greater heights, you have to climb. And I think about it of course, I want to climb high for the purposes of making sure my children get the very best out of life, the very best that I can provide, because I'm the provider. At the same time,
Yeah.
I worry about my creative ability being taken, because you get, they want you to market it a certain way or repackage it in a way that's more swallowable.
Yeah.
And
You want to stay true to your art.
that's what's hard. I've heard about this in the business,
Yeah.
just in authorship, right? In music, we've heard about this, um, in modeling, other parts of the arts and the creative arts. Uh, that is something that truly scares me.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to stay mindful and grounded, uh, and still have fun.
I love it. That's one of the most important things because it's contagious. Other people
Yes.
see that now they don't realize they having fun. I
Yeah.
Hmm.
think that's important what you said. It's the connection I made earlier to the Cosbys because it's a conversation we don't get to have in the black community enough. And it's the pressures from having successful parents, the pressures from your
Hmm.
parents actually telling you the right things to do, and you still being like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to
Yeah.
read. Yeah. And then 30
Yep.
years later being like, I'm glad I read. I'm glad they told
You're
me to
right.
read.
Right.
That was
Right.
good for
Right.
them. So
Yep.
I think about that all the time with my children and things I do. Like, how is this pressure going to make them feel like, oh, I gotta do what dad does, or I gotta go to school, or I gotta, and that's important because I think a lot of people think once you become successful, your kids are just set. Like everything works out for them. They're gonna have all the friends and all the things, but you
Mm,
don't know what's going on inside of them thinking, I need to be as good as my parent, potentially better. And then people like me, I think our kids are our 2.0. Like my
hmm.
kids gonna have all my game and everything they learn. They should be
Right.
better than me.
Right.
I'm gonna tell
Right.
them everything. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So how does that dynamic work with you as far as your children's self-esteem, your children's dream, because they're young. And that's
Hmm.
another thing I, fight with America about is not making these black boys feel like we gotta be President Obama at 25. And
Right.
like I hate when I hear people say this black boy's lazy. He's a kid. He's a
Oh,
child. He is not
yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
So how does that work with
Yeah.
you?
Oh man, that is an amazing question. Um, I think uh, we inherited a lot of generationally traumatic conversations. Let's
Yeah.
put it that
Yeah.
way, right? So, outside of we have to do twice as much to get half as, or do we
Yeah.
have to do twice as better to get half as much? I've heard
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think really situates itself like furniture in my mind. With my kids, I think they experience a lot of that pressure, and we talk about that pressure. And, there's definitely been times in this reality where people have misspoke and said some things like, oh, he's lazy, or she's this, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's hard as a parent. I think the first thing is to remember that you're a parent first. And um, sometimes I struggle with that sometimes because I'm very career focused, because I want to make sure I'm doing the best that I can so that my kids, have a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, we are not allowed, and this is a conversation that we're having and we're not having enough. We're not allowed to parent in the same way as our
Yes.
partner. It
Yes.
doesn't look the same. We come across as harsh. If I have to hear that I'm the angry black woman one more time, um, or if I get that look or that nod, like, oh, there she goes again, um,
Yeah.
Hmm.
you know, it it's hard. We're not even allowed to preserve the little bit of culture that we have now when much of it was already stolen.
Right.
So, um, I just try to check in with my kids and make sure that I haven't completely lost focus.
Yeah.
Are you what's going on for you? Um, how can I be supportive? How can I be a better mom? I will ask my kids this question because I believe in that level of vulnerability. Um,
Hmm.
and I think we have got to suspend pride.
Yeah.
Um, we've got to suspend that idea that where it's top down. And I think we did that, and we do that from a place of protection. And
Hmm.
we don't necessarily always serve our children very well when we don't allow a more inclusive stance. And I realize I'll probably get like a on the hand for that, but
Mhm.
my parents in many ways were very top down. It was very do as I say. It was not a whole lot
Mhm.
of explanation. We're also dealing with the intersectionality of not just like our children being Black or mixed, but um, the generational differences. Like
Yeah.
Gen Z is a whole other. I don't. And Gen A, my other kid, Gen Z and Gen A, they're very curious. They want to know why,
Yeah.
and we can't let ourselves get annoyed because I think it's the time that the ones that ask the why questions are probably going to be the ones that are the game changers. So let's help
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly. I, I think we get a better idea too of where their head is at. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for a parent to say, this is what my kid knows. But like, when's the last time you asked them? Is this
Mm-hmm.
updated information? Is this what you knew? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And then that creates the other side. The duality of it is there we have no middle ground. It's
No.
either the kids have all the pressure or nepotism. You just give them the
Oh,
job and you just let them live off of your career. You know what I mean?
yes.
And I
Yes.
think we just
And
need to find that balance.
yes. And unfortunately, I think as you speak to nepotism, there are still very few opportunities in comparison to some of our racial counterparts for us to be able to pass along
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
you know like that, or let them inherit certain things. It's not to say that we don't work hard, but we're still in an inequitable place. And
Mhm.
Yes.
so many of us, I think, have come up and become creators or slipped into things that we wouldn't have normally dreamt of, like me with writing.
Mhm.
Because we have to pave way. I think it's also has been created or concocted from a place of panic. We're all panicking
Yes.
about what's going on and
Yes.
Yeah.
what do we leave our kids. And, with all three of us here, if anything was to happen, I'm terrified. I don't know what my kids would do, and
Yeah.
that's just being real and vulnerable. I don't
Yeah.
have I equipped them enough to this date in time that they would know who to call, where to
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
and that's sort of I think where we've landed, and it's just a very different time, especially socially.
Yeah.
Yes. Well put.
Yeah. I No, I mean, I think that was an amazing conversation, but I feel like I have so many things I wanted to add to that and
Yeah,
piggyback off of, but
yeah.
it is not fair if we don't address your book, Bereavement.
Oh, let's do it. I'll be quick.
Yes.
No,
That's
Yes.
no, I don't want you quick on this part. So, when we were
Why
doing
we're
some
here.
research, yeah, so bookstore is a book in the emblem, you know. But we read we read the synopsis to your story, and that concept was just so moving to me. We've all
Mhm.
experienced major grief in so many different ways. And when you describe the society about it, like regulating grief and like rationing how we can remember our loved ones, it was really like emotionally charged for me because the first thought that I had was, how is that different from right now?
right,
Like that, I felt like that. So it,
right.
it really made me really intrigued to hear more about where that concept came for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Um, so interestingly enough, as all great ideas come, I'm eating something. There's always food, and I'm like, an idea. Um, so this this book originally was a script in my head. It was supposed to be a movie. I can see a movie.
It
Um,
read like a movie, yes.
thank you, thank you. So if anyone sees this, you know, but it started off as a movie in my head
Mhm,
because at this time, so real life events were happening for me.
mhm,
I was losing my dad.
mhm,
I lost him last year to dementia, and I just
mhm,
watched him decline. I watched him grasp and hold on to memories, and it was
mhm.
really rough to watch, right?
Yeah.
And this concept of 72 hours, I was having a conversation with an employee who had to leave for a family member had passed out of the country, and I remember saying something like, "Oh, okay, well, the company allows the 72 hours of bereavement time, but since you're
Yeah.
leaving the country and you don't have enough, sick time or what have you, I absolutely will grant it." And I found myself feeling like a complete idiot
Mhm.
because, on the one hand, it seemed like, well, that was really nice of you to give him that extended time. But
Mhm.
I was also part of the problem, right? I'm sitting here policing grief,
Mm.
but I have to work within a system. And
Yeah.
then I thought about, oh my gosh, this is something that happens to so many people. We don't talk about it. We don't
Right.
talk about the cultural differences. Like,
Mhm.
I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was like, "Why did it take you guys so long to bury your dad?" I was like, "Because Black folk take forever. We not burying the same day. Okay,
It's
that's
a
not
it's
what
a
we do.
process. There's
It's a
steps
whole
to this.
right, you know." And then I got to thinking, oh, I need to write about this. And so in this society, grief is bureaucratized. It is
Mhm.
rationed.
Yeah.
And you know, the story is about a mom and a dad and a daughter. So Evelyn is the mom, and
Mhm.
Daniel is the dad, and Mara is the 10-year-old little girl. And
Mhm.
all you know is that Evelyn is Black. I don't talk about race. I don't talk about any of that because I want everyone who has actually read the book has said, "Oh my gosh, I saw myself in this book. I saw my
Yeah.
grandmother in this
Hmm.
book. I saw."
Yeah.
And Evelyn, it starts the first line of the book. They tell us the dead are at peace. This is the first lie.
Mm.
Mm.
And
Mm. Mm.
Evelyn is fighting to hold on to memories about her daughter and her husband, Daniel, because um, this society is really twisted. Here you have people have to work for 3 years
Mhm.
nonstop
Oh,
to accrue 72 hours of bereavement leave.
wow.
And before,
Mhm.
I've had people say, well, that's impossible. 2 years. I said, oh, no, no. We've all known people in those companies that never take PTO and they have to take forced PTO at the end of the year. 3 years is nothing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But now bereavement leave here is a little different
Mhm.
in that if you accrue those 72 hours, you can bring your loved one back from the dead. We call it to be recalled.
Mm.
Mhm.
Uh, the caveat, there's a two-parter to this.
Okay.
If you use those 72 hours, once that expires, your loved one that was recalled is completely erased from your memory and everyone that ever knew them.
Wow.
The second piece to that,
Well.
it gets worse. It gets so much worse. And this is a nod to so many systems in society. If you are in a couple, let's say like you and I are married, we have a child,
Uh-huh.
if you die, you have I have 24 hours to surrender my child or children to the state for reassignment. And the reason for
Wow.
yeah, there's a background that will in book 2 that I'm working on now, which is it's called
Stay
funeral. So
tuned.
we're working back with bereavement, funeral, and then book 3. Hopefully, I'm thinking about calling it wake. So it'll be working backwards but moving forward. Uh,
Ooh.
yeah, it's gonna be wild.
Yes.
So the story sort of traces what happens when a innocent little girl wants to get her mother back, and there's a very stoic father who is trying to learn how to parent, right? And in this society, part of the reason why you have to surrender your child or children is um, you, the society thrives on emotional regulation and evidence-based like parenting and such. So a nod to our world as therapists, where everything is like big emotions are not welcome. There's in chapter 1, I talk about what the ministry, which is what they're called, considers vulgar, which is like excessive laughter and public drunkenness, and clapping is seen as too provincial, and so it's they're very controlled, and there's
Mm.
a spray that comes through the vents through the entire town. And like the minute people start to get too happy and giddy, the spray comes and it just calms you down. And
Hmm.
it's a whole story, looking at just the,
Okay,
the
I stand corrected. It is not a movie. It is a series.
that's what
Yeah.
everybody
This this is
Yeah.
this is what were we talking about? We were talking about Divergent. We were
oh yes,
talking about The
Yeah.
yes,
Handmaid's Tale. We were
yes,
talking
Black Mirror,
no.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
No,
it's
we need to see this.
yes, very dark, very dystopian, but very, very close to reality. And what I will say is the reviews that I have gotten from people who have read the full manuscript are, one of my best friends said, I switched from coffee to cocktails. I couldn't. Like she said, I could not do this with you. And she said it made me really tinker with my own grief. And other people said it made me cry from like the first few pages. Um, it is devastating, and I do not let up in this book. I,
Good.
I give you I give you small morsels to breathe. You put it down, then you're like, okay, I gotta see what happens. Ugh. Just devastating. Yeah. Um, and it's written in very short staccato lines, so I'm not overly descriptive. It leaves a lot
Mhm.
to your imagination. But yeah, poor Evelyn. I don't want to spoil it too much, but
So
poor
what you're saying is we're not going to like you after this.
This is
yeah.
just the character.
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
But you're gonna love me. It's gonna.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna situate. Like it's gonna make you think.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think for any of us that have dealt with trauma or loss, you're gonna see yourself in all three of these characters,
Yeah.
and they are
Yeah.
so near to my heart, especially Mara. That innocence, that just desire of wanting to get her mom back, and it
Yeah.
happens. She gets her
Yeah.
mom back, but she
Hmm.
doesn't realize the cost. Oftentimes, as
Yeah.
children don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and then there's like a nod to single motherhood and motherhood in general, of how sometimes we take accountability for things that are not ours. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's devastating.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's beautiful.
That's huge.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm
That's
excited
huge.
about
I do
the
love
next.
that. I do love the visual. I immediately when you started telling the story, it showed me a picture and it showed me characters.
Mhm.
And also our condolences for your father.
Oh, thank
Hmm.
you.
I'm sure he was very proud of you and everything you've amassed and having you as a daughter. I'm sure that was a treat for him. So shout
Thank you
out to
so
him.
much. Thank you so much. Yes, rest in
And
power. Yeah.
yes, and I think that's big. Everything you were just talking about also with our community of us learning to accept because we get a lot of labels that we have to learn to wear, like ghetto and
Mm,
loud
mm-hmm.
and too much. And we got to try
Mm-hmm.
to turn that into something beautiful,
Yep.
something that we can share with other people. So yeah, it's given Fahrenheit 451. Like it's given those depictions that I have to think this could be me in this story. Hold up, I thought this was
Yeah.
so crazy what's happening to them. Is this me?
Yes. Yes.
And being a
Yes.
black writer, oh man, we couldn't ask for any more.
Well,
We
we
will
I
ask for more, but we
well,
shouldn't.
it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I
No,
promise it's coming.
that
It's
was the
coming.
conversation we had the other day. I couldn't think of the name of the book, but it was The Giver
The
when they were
giver.
The
Yeah.
giver,
holding the
yeah,
memories. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it was going to drive me
yeah,
crazy because I couldn't remember it. So I just want to say, I know we're wrapping things up. I'm very glad to know that you were a therapist. So after the book is completed, I have your contact information,
yeah.
Yeah.
so I know
Yeah.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going right. We're going right to the couch because you're not
Hey,
going to
right.
ride me through this
More
roller coaster
work.
and leave me to tend to myself out in the world. No,
Yeah.
listen.
That's the next project. I'm actually working on a podcast for our
Ooh,
communities.
yes.
I got more research to do, figure that one out. But
Yeah,
I really want to work on just some talking points for self care, things going on in our communities that are really hard to talk about. And
Yes.
yeah, so that's the next project on top of all the 10,000 other projects that I'm doing. But I feel like we got work to do. You know, we've got so much work to do,
That's
and with
what we're
every
here for.
yes, yes. Hmm.
I love it. So how we
Please tell us where they
usually,
can find you.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. What were you saying?
Nah,
oh,
that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So I am I'm on LinkedIn. So Carmela Maxell, you'll find me there. I'm on Instagram at the real Carmela Maxell. Oh my gosh, what other platforms? I'm on Facebook, also Carmela Maxell. And I'm on X. I still say Twitter. I'm old school now, right? And that's at
Yeah, we
Dr.
still say
Doctor.
Twitter too.
Twitter, yep. Twitter. I'm still figuring out Twitter, but on X at Dr. Carmela Maxell. So yeah, and I don't really
Shout
use
out
my
for the doctor.
woo, well, shout out for the debt. All that debt. Oh man, that's a lot. But yeah, so yeah, follow me and learn more about the next projects. It'll be really good.
Absolutely. And we can purchase Bereavement on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. So right now it's the Kindle edition because I've gone through just the printing process, which has been a pain trying to get this cover right. So the paperback edition will be here probably in about a week or so. But right now, today, it is a free download day on Kindle. So I did
Okay.
that since we finally hit 1,000 followers on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. It is free download day. So get your copy.
Woo, that's
Yes, go
awesome.
get your
We love
copy.
free.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. It's been an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. I am like so excited for people to see this kind of conversation and these kind of dynamics and how we show up in these different spaces that we're not, readily available in all the time. So just
Yeah.
thank you for being you, going through all the education and getting all the debt.
Yes. Oh man.
Because it was for us. It was for all of us.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. We'll be doing this again soon.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All
All right,
right. Well,
everybody. You
I
can
guess that's a
follow
wrap.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can follow us, Good Life Bookstore, everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, goodlifebookstore.com. I am one of your hosts, Good Life for Us. Thank you.
I am the other host, Chloe Simone. Thank you guys for watching.
All right, peace, everybody.